So you're eligible for your learner's permit, your driver's license to get started to learn how to drive, but you're a little terrified because you got to go into the DMV and you're afraid you're going to get the stink eye from a disgruntled government employee. And then you got to pass the test on top of that. So today we're going to give you 5 tips on how to pass your knowledge test in order to learn how to drive. First tip, number 1, take this driver's manual and pitch it because it's boring. And the only thing that it's good for is curing insomnia. Go to the computer, look up online practice tests, use the practice test to identify the gaps in your knowledge. And then once you do that, go back to the book, look up the sections that you're weak on, for example, right-of-way, signs, road markings, or driving in inclement weather, whichever one you're having trouble with, and look that up, go back to the tests and do the tests again. When you're getting 80 to 90% consistently, then you're ready to go into the DMV and write your test. Tip number 2. GLP, GDL. You are all going to start in a GLP or a GDL program. You're going to have your license for a minimum of 180 days to a year, depending on where you are in the world. But you're going to have your learners for a period of time. The day that you're eligible for your learners, go in and write your test and get the clock ticking. Because even if you're not going to practice for your road test right away, at least you get that clock ticking and you can get into the novice phase more quickly and get a full license as soon as you're eligible, because most novice phases are going to be 2 years. Know that you're going to be paying more for insurance when you're in the GLP program, so you want to get your full license as quickly as possible. Tip number 3. All of the tests are going to be multiple choice. There's going to be 4 possible answers. 2 of the 4 answers you can eliminate almost immediately. And then it's down to 2 possible solutions. All of the test questions in this day and age are going to be computer-based. It's unlikely you're going to write a written test. They're going to be drawn from a pool of questions. So there's going to be 300 or 400 questions. From that pool, you're going to get 50 questions, of which you have to get 80%. So for example, if you have 50 questions, you have to get 40 of the 50 correct. So what happens is, they come up in the queue, you answer the questions. As soon as you get 40 questions right, the test is over. You can skip some of the questions. If you skip the question, it's going to go to the bottom of the queue. And if you get the next 40 correct, you won't see that question again. But if you don't, the question will come back up and you may have had time to think about it. And you can skip the question 3 times and then you have to answer it. Tip number 4, read the entire question. Take note of the key words in the question and make sure you read all of the possible solutions. Years ago, when I had to redo my instructor's license here in the province of British Columbia, I had to do the written test for air brakes, and I remember distinctly the first question was on moisture in the air tanks, and I pushed the first answer, the first possible solution. It was wrong because I didn't take the time to slow myself down, read the question completely, and look at all the possible answers. So make sure you read the question thoroughly, take note of the keywords, and read all of the possible solutions before you make a selection on the multiple choice question. Tip number 5, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. And I'll give you an example of that. 4-way stop. If you're at a 4-way stop, they asked you that question, who has the right of way? First person to arrive, vehicle on the right, vehicle in the intersection, or the largest vehicle. Both answers are correct. The vehicle on the right and the first vehicle to arrive. Those are correct answers. But the best answer is the vehicle in the intersection, because the vehicle in the intersection is already proceeding and has the right of way. So therefore, that is an example of pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Bonus section on the DMV written test. Head over to the Smart Drive Test website. Right on the front page is a practice test question that you can do to prepare for your written test at the DMV. As well, know that you don't have to book an appointment at most test centers. You can just go in and do the written test. Check on your website for specific information though, but most of the time you don't. Don't show up an hour before the center closes though, because they'll kick you out and you won't be able to get your test done. Show up in the morning. Know that there isn't a time limit. Take your time. Read all the questions. For another video, click here. To subscribe, click here. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now. So you're going to go into the DMV and you're going to get a disgruntled government employee that's going to give you a stink eye.